إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. O believers, the fasting has been prescribed upon you as it was prescribed upon those before you, so that you may become God conscious or God fearing. Another two ayahs later in the Surah Baqarah, Allah Ta'ala says, شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان. The month of Ramadan in which was revealed the Quran are guidance for the mankind and clear proofs for the guidance and the criterion between right and wrong. Ramadan is coming in a month or so. I'm sure there will be several khutbahs, several talks about Ramadan, the fadail of Ramadan, how we do fasting, the first Ashra, second and third Ashra and other things. I just want to talk about a little bit different side of it. Let's break down this ayah quickly. So the first, it starts with Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. So God is addressing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing mu'minin. So we are Muslims and we are mu'min. Generally we consider them the same. But Muslim and Mu'min, there is a difference. We say Quran, every word is there for a reason, right? There are different flavors of something, so Allah Ta'ala uses different words. So what is the difference between Muslim and Mu'min in general? Because God is talking about, He's addressing Mu'minin. He's not talking about everybody. So there can be people, particularly in those times, who just said, I don't want to fight, I don't want to resist anymore. I just submit. I just listen to you, whatever you are going to say. Okay? No resistance. That's one thing that you follow. But the other stage is when you say, I'm on board with you. Not only I'm not going to resist, but I'm with you. I'm on board with you, I understand. It's not what you're telling me. It's my understanding as well. I'm not saying, well, God said this, let's do this. But now I'm saying, I believe it. I understand why He's saying it. Let's do it. So it's an invitation. I think it's an invitation from Allah Ta'ala that, you know what, you have to, I address you as mu'mineen. Be a mu'min. Be a deep believer. We may, out of humbleness, I'm just a simple Muslim and say, no, I'm a believer. I believe in something. And believing in something means I have an understanding of it. And I promote it. I talk about it. I remember like two years ago we talked about the similar subject, and I mentioned the Christian sect of Mormons. started from Illinois, southern Illinois. The word Mormon is similar to Mormon, because when they saw all kind of deviation in the faith, the person who started it, he wanted to have people become deep believers. So it's interesting, the Mormon and Mormon. Second, it says, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu kutiba. So it's written and it's a prescription. When we have a prescription, when my doctor gives me a prescription, it means either I have an ongoing physical problem or there is a concern in my doctor's mind that I'm going to go through some problem very soon. So the doctor writes a prescription. The purpose of the prescription is not just carry it in my pocket or take it home and keep it somewhere, right? The purpose of a prescription is read it, what is being said, take it to the pharmacy, get the medicine, act on it. Start using it, act on it. So if Quran is a prescription, we have to not just read it, but understand it and then act on it. Otherwise, ill is not going to be taken care of. In Quran, Allah Ta'ala says, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. Now, it's a guidance for the muttaqis. So we will talk about what is a muttaqi and why somebody who is already a muttaqi needs a guidance. But Allah Ta'ala also says, what has He prescribed? What He has prescribed is siyam. So the word Sawm comes from the root of sawama or sam, which means to stop or refrain. Now that's all Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. But He didn't describe yet the procedure of doing it. The concept of Sawm was already there in the Arab world. In order to train their animals for the wars in hard conditions, harsh conditions of the desert, and to tough them up, they used to tie their legs and keep them hungry for extended period of time. They would keep them standing. Horses don't sit down, camels do. But they would make them stand for a longer period of time so they become tough, like army training. So it was a concept they understood, what is being said. Allah Ta'ala wants us to become tough, strong. Strong in doing what? Wrestling? No. Remember Prophet Muhammad said, the strong person is not a wrestler who takes somebody down, but the one who controls his nafs, the one who can control his anger. Anger is one of the results of nafs going out of control. So he said, this is the concept. We are going to make you, Allah is going to make us hard and strong to deal with our nafs. So let's talk about nafs a little bit later. Then later on it says, people of the book, I have prescribed fasting for you just like I prescribed fasting for other people before you. Right? Okay. So we will talk about people of the book. So why people of the book and we needed this exercise every year? Okay. So what happened? You and I all, we know this. Living through life day by day. We remember good things, but slowly we go away. The world, drop by drop, if you leave the tap open, drop by drop, the water can make a hole through stones. Drop by drop, step by step, the world, the dunya takes us over. The physical pleasures take us over. I was in Mecca several years ago, the first time I went there. I was hungry, so I crossed the road, I went to a restaurant. And I asked this guy to give me some food. I asked for a particular dish. So he asked his employee to bring the item. The employee took some time, so he cursed him. He used a bad curse word, which shocked me. And I said, brother, you're hardly 100 feet from the... What did you do? He was from my country, Pakistan. He was embarrassed. And he said, brother, are you going to live in Mecca? I said, no, I'm visiting. He said, don't live here. He said, after a month or so, things become normal. It's just another building. So, but I was like, but it's not another building. You see, slowly we forget things. That's what we are, insan, nisyan. We are forgetful people. Insan, for us also, we long for love. We want to be loved, but we are forgetful people. We forget. So that's why every year this exercise takes place. You know, like driving cars. We drive cars every now and then we go over, the potholes, the cracks and the speed breakers. Every 6 months or so, you have to go back for wheel alignment because wheels go out of alignment. We go out of alignment with Allah Ta'ala's guidance. So we need to be aligned. We have to go back to the workshop. So this is once a year workshop. Also, the carnal appetite, the physical things, they take us over. We don't get time. Even some people, and at the end I would recommend that we all reflect upon things every now and then. But as a group, when we are reflecting upon things in a month of Ramadan, as a community we come together, there are so many other things that take place, right? The iftar, and you come together, there are more talks, and you're more conscious about God. So you are focusing more. It's not easy to just go away from it. Now, people of the book, in Exodus, in Bible, it's from the Bible, Exodus, it says Musa alayhi salam fasted 40 days before he received the 10 commandments. And so was Isa alayhi salam. In Matthew it says, he fasted for 40 days before he was tempted by the Satan, before he faced the temptation by the Satan. And in Psalms, in Dawud alayhi salam's book, Zabur, it says followers Isa alayhi salam fasted. They used to fast before making critical decisions. Now on the side point, why would they fast before making important decisions? Does it mean when you're hungry you make better decisions? Partly yes, because when we eat the sugars go up to our mind, we get lethargic and lazy. But they also wanted to remind themselves that what decision we are going to make, it better not be about personal gains. It should not be about worldly things. We should keep in mind that these things are being done for Allah's sake. So it should be within the guidelines. So at the end it says, so you become muttaqi. Over a period of time, you become muttaqis. What is a muttaqi? I think I shared this. My kid was in 4th, 5th grade, and he asked me, he said, Baba, you said your goal is to become muttaqi, God-fearing. But in the Quran it says, Hudan lil muttaqin, is a guidance for the muttaqi who is already a pious person. Right? We translate muttaqi to be a pious person. So he said, if a person is already pious, he doesn't need a guidance. You have to give him a guidance. And if somebody has become muttaqi without this guidance, then why they need the guidance? Coming from a 4th, 5th grader, I was like, how do you answer this? So muttaqi, it doesn't, we translate as pious person, but muttaqi doesn't mean a pious person. It means, it simply means a person who safeguards himself, who's willing to safeguard himself against the problems that he can run into and against the wrath of Allah Ta'ala, the anger of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So it comes from waqaya, to safeguard, the shield. You know, in the old times when people went to war, they had swords and they had shields to save themselves. That's the one. So how do we then, this is the stated purpose. When we ask people why we fast, when you ask kids, they usually tell you, so we understand how hungry people feel, right? We understand how homeless people feel. We understand what poverty is. No. Those may be the side benefits, but the stated goal by Allah is that you become muttaqi. You slowly start safeguarding yourself. And this is not, by the way, true that by fasting in Ramadan we understand how hungry people feel. I think I mentioned before in Arizona in 2022, I spent 3 months, 24 hours a day with homeless people on streets. I learned a lot. I made video clips. I did talks, interviews. I even found 3 Muslim sisters and doing different things and stuff. It's nothing. Ramadan is nothing like what they go through. At least we have good meal in the morning and we know a good meal is coming in the evening. They don't know another meal is coming. Okay, so it's not even that. It's not even close. So the exercise purpose is to learn how to resist temptation. You know, when any country's secret agencies, they hire people, one of the top quality they are looking for, can you resist temptation? Otherwise you are not the person. So for Allah Ta'ala's army of good people to do good things, we have to have this character, that we should be tough, we should not be easy to fall. So this is our ability to resist temptation, to venture into things we shouldn't. That's one thing. To avoid the munkar. But also the ability to resist the urge that, you know what, when there is a moral call from within me to do something good and I don't. But we should also overcome that. No, I have to do something good. This is half the story that we do. I don't drink, I don't gamble, I don't do zina, I don't do this, I don't. But this is the other half, that do something good as well. We should be known as people who do something good. I know that. I'm in Dawah with Dr. Sabeel and I work with the Dawah stuff. If 100 people contact us every year and say, I want to work with you, I want to volunteer, 99.99% people don't show up. Because they have urge, they feel temporary, at the spur of the moment they may feel we should do something. But then when time comes, they don't find themselves being able to do something. Maybe I'll just go for dinner with my family, maybe my friends and stuff, and then they go away. We have seen it for 30 years. So this is important that you resist those things. No, I have, as an example, so I'm here today. I live in Wheeling. I have to do a talk 6 o'clock in Frankfurt. It's about an hour, 20 minutes south. There is no time to go back. So between now and then, I'm going to be just walking and going around and stuff. Don't you think I have things to do? Yeah, I have things to do. But this is the sacrifice we have to make. I may just go Frankfurt, sit in the library. So we should be willing to do small sacrifices here and there to get something done. So what about the concept of freedom? In America it's all about freedom. I am free to do whatever I want. I love freedom. When there was a tug of war between anti-abortion forces and pro-abortion forces, you know what made a difference on the side of pro-abortion people? When they came up with the slogan, choice. Right? We are pro-choice. We love choice. I have a choice. That swayed the public. A lot of people fell for it. So freedom is something. Yeah, I want to have freedom. I'm a liberal. In this society, it's our society, lot of things, lot of values run counter to our religious or moral values. So if it's our society, we should work to change this. We don't believe in the freedom of the self. In America, this society promotes freedom of the self, do whatever you want. There is a small city called Slab City in California. It's the California and Arizona border. It's called the last free city of the world. Look it up. You can do whatever you want, but it's horrible. That's what happens when everybody is free to do whatever they want. Islam focuses on freedom from the self. Don't let part of you, a collection of feelings, emotions and everything, self or not, control all of you. We shouldn't. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. I'm going to go over a couple of more concepts. Okay, so the God consciousness, it helps us attain a couple of other things, as I said. First is self-awareness. When we fast, and we fast only for the sake of Allah, and no one knows it. When I was a kid and my mother asked me, you should fast. I was 6 years old or something. I didn't want to fast. So she said, fast. So for her, to make her happy, got up in the morning, I did the suhoor, and throughout the day I drank water. Nobody knew about this. But in the evening, my mother threw a small party with friends, with a cake. My son has fasted. Decades later, I told her I didn't fast. But so what, right? Kids do this. But when we fast, we know the reward is not with people. Alhamdulillah, you fasted. We all fast now. But when we are young, we compete. Oh, you did 10, we did 15, he did 12, you know all that stuff. But it's for the sake of Allah, only He knows who is fasting. Second part is, it's not just staying hungry and thirsty. So there is a hadith, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you stay hungry and thirsty, but you don't avoid other things, because the whole purpose is to reinforce all the Islamic values as much as possible together. Reinforce all the Islamic moral values at once in our life as much as possible. But if you just stay hungry and thirsty, that's what you got out of it. You just stayed hungry and thirsty. No use. Right? So first thing we learn is, oh, I'm doing it for God. Oh, why? There is one God. There is God. He is one. Why is one? Why he has to be one? We talked about this, right? A few months ago. One means the source of knowledge is unified. One. Whatever that God is saying, He's saying for my betterment. I gotta believe it. I gotta follow it. So that tells me who I am. It's self-awareness. Fasting, every aspect of Islam, particularly fasting, tells me who I am, makes me self-aware. Secondly, it helps me build my self-control, sabr. Everything else is a reflection of sabr. You know, sabr is an important concept like sun. Like if sun is sabr, all other good things come from sun. Everything else just reflects sunlight. Moon is beautiful, but moon is reflecting sunlight. Stars are reflecting sunlight. Sabr is a very critical value, very critical concept that we should have. It gives me the self-control. Look, if that's what I am, and I'm supposed to do certain things, not just pray and stuff, but move around in the society and things become difficult, I have to have self-control to do a better job. This is what in our corporate world we call the best practices of the industry. So the best practices of the faith industry is that you have to have self-control. And the second, in order to avoid problem, in order to avoid the negatives of the society. And the self-discipline. If I'm not self-disciplined, I can't push myself out of the bed and do something good. These are the two things we get from this. As I already mentioned, because I'm going skipping things, sorry for that. A flower, you know, in poetry, people have done poetry about flowers because they're beautiful. But flowers are known for two things. Their beauty and their fragrance. They said if your character is lost, then it's like a flower has lost its fragrance. It's just colors left. You can paint a flower with the same colors, but you can't put that fragrance. So it's fragrance. The character is like fragrance. So we in Ramadan should focus on building our character because that's what we are. It affects everything else. There are some 3,000 mosques in America. Right? If every mosque spends $2,000 a day for iftar, we are spending $6 million a day and $180 million on iftar in 1 month. So I invite all of us to think, can we do the same one more time in the year? Can we collect the same amount of money to do other things? You're buying a mosque. I know how hard it is. Iftar is not far. So we should think where our resources are going. When NPR interviewed us about Ramadan once, one of the punchline that became very popular was this. He asked me, in a nutshell, tell us what fasting is. And I said, just like food nourishes our body, fasting nourishes our soul, our spiritual life. That's the benefit. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us attain as much taqwa as possible this Ramadan. Allahumma izzal Islam wal Muslimin wa azil al-shirka wal mushrikeen wa dammar a'da ad-din. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. أقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح، قد قامت الصلاة، قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى. سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى. ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى. سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا. قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى. بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى. إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت وإلى السماء كيف رفعت وإلى الجبال كيف نصبت وإلى الأرض كيف سطحت. فذكر إنما أنت مذكر لست عليهم بمسيطر إلا من تولى وكفر فيعذبه الله العذاب الأكبر. إن إلينا إيابهم ثم إن علينا حسابهم. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.